Last summer, I landed a job at a company in a big city. The long bus commute was a bit challenging, but I was quite happy and grateful. Getting this job was no easy feat. It took almost a year. I worked really hard with a determination to prove myself to the company that hired me. I even volunteered whenever there was overtime work to be done to make a good impression, and because of it, I often ended up taking the last bus home. One day, an incident occurred that I never wanted to revisit. After putting in extra hours at work, I found myself waiting for the bus to head home. The digital display board at the bus stop indicated that the expected bus would arrive in 10 minutes. Relaxed, I decided to pass the time by listening to music. However, as time passed, the bus failed to show up. What was even stranger was that the information about the bus I was expecting suddenly disappeared from the display board. Baffled, I decided to open a real-time bus locator app on my phone. Even on this app, the information about the bus seemed to have vanished. It dawned on me that I might have missed the last bus, and I contemplated whether I should take a taxi home. While pondering, the missing bus from the display board and my app suddenly appeared and came to a stop right in front of me. Strangely, the bus was completely empty that day, and I was the only passenger. As soon as I took my seat, I set an alarm. Sometimes I doze off and miss my stop, so I wanted to make sure I wouldn't miss it. Also, in case I couldn't hear the alarm, I intentionally sat right behind the driver so that he could wake me up if I don't wake up. It's a routine I follow when taking the bus. On that particular day, as always, I settled into my routine seat, behind the driver, set the alarm, and was just about to close my eyes.
What is your name?
Caught off guard by the unexpected words from the bus driver, I felt a bit flustered. Then I thought to myself that he must be talking to someone over the phone and simply ignored him. However, a moment later,
The passenger sitting right behind me. What is your name?
this time I knew he was addressing me specifically, as I was the only passenger on the bus and was sitting right behind him. Why would he suddenly ask for my name? It feels a bit strange and odd. My name? Why do you want to know my name? Confused, I asked.
Hey, say your name. What is your name?
This time, he raised his voice so loud that I got scared. The bus driver repeatedly asked for my name in a threatening voice, and I was too frightened and confused to grasp the situation. I couldn't utter a word, trembling with fear in the midst of an eerie silence on the bus. After a while, the bus stop was approaching, and I decided to press the stop button, eager to get off the bus. However, as soon as I pressed the button, the bus unexpectedly accelerated. What's happening? My mind became a jumble of confusion as the bus just bypassed the bus stop. Hello, sir, I'm getting off here. But the bus driver didn't say anything. Instead, what I heard was,
The next stop is 34th Street. The next stop is Broadway. The next stop is Washington Road.
The announcements came from the speaker as the bus careened wildly, passing every bus stop on the road. Then suddenly, all the lights inside the bus went out, as if signaling it wouldn't take any more passengers. In the pitch-dark bus, alone with this crazy bus driver, it felt even more surreal. I thought I shouldn't provoke this man any further and cautiously pleaded, Sir, please let me off. I'll get off now. Sir, where are we heading? Please, sir, just let me go. Why are you doing this to me?
Why didn't you tell me your name then?
I couldn't understand why he was so obsessed with knowing my name. Okay, I'll tell you my name. Then, suddenly, with the sound of tires screeching, the bus abruptly came to a rough stop. The bus driver rose from his seat, approaching me as if he was trying to harm me. Please don't come, please, I pleaded, trying to fend him off with both hands. In that moment, one of my earphones slipped out and fell to the floor. It was then that I felt something hit me hard, and a realization came over me. I usually crank up the volume when listening to music with my earphones on, and I can barely hear anything around me. Yet, I couldn't wrap my head around how clearly I had been able to hear what the bus driver was saying all this time. The music still echoed loudly from the other earphone, sending chills down my spine. How on earth was I able to hear the bus driver's words? Who is this man, anyway? At that moment, as my gaze remained fixed on the fallen earphone on the floor, a pair of black shoes became visible within my field of vision. Paralyzed with fear, I could only stare at the floor. Suddenly, the bus driver's face appeared right in front of me. What was even more surprising was that the bus driver was surprisingly young, appearing to be in his 20s, much like myself. As the bus driver's hand was about to reach my face, I sprang up and rushed towards the door, attempting to open it. However, no matter how hard I pulled the handle, the door refused to budge. At that moment, the driver came up from behind, wielding a wrench in his hand, about to strike me. In an instant, I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes, it was still the pitch-dark interior of the bus. I looked around, and fortunately, the driver was nowhere to be seen, and the bus was at a standstill. Carefully approaching the door, I pulled the handle, and it opened easily. I had no idea where I was exactly. At that instant, I noticed a man walking steadily in the darkness towards me. What if he's the same crazy driver? I stared in that direction, feeling highly anxious.
This is the last stop. You should go home now.
Fortunately, it was someone else. With the relief in his kind voice, my tension eased away, and I burst into tears as I hugged the man. Thank you. Thank you so much. Shaking all over, he guided me to the rest area, handing me a cup of coffee from a vending machine. He then asked me what had happened. Still shaking, I explained everything that happened while I was in that bus. With disbelief, he said,
We don't have anyone like that in our company. Maybe you are mistaken.
No, I'm serious. The driver was quite young.
Young? Well, exactly how young was he then?
He looked around my age, maybe 25.
We don't have anyone that young in our company.
But I saw him with my own eyes. Looking at the man who seemed utterly unconvinced, I couldn't help but feel frustrated. However, in that moment, my eyes caught a framed group photo of the bus drivers on the wall. That man. That's the same man from earlier, I exclaimed.
What? Are you sure this man was the one you saw in the bus? That's impossible.
It's him, I insisted. We must report this to the police immediately.
Wait a minute, this man is dead. He is not in this world anymore.
He went on to explain that the driver had been tormented by a harassing passenger and tragically took his own life. The passenger harassed the driver by consistently filing complaints with the company, the municipal office, and the police, ultimately leading to the driver losing his job. He further speculated that the deceased driver seemed to be searching for that harassing passenger by asking for names. The bus I was on happened to be the same bus driven by the deceased driver who had asked for my name. Following the incident, I couldn't bring myself to take the bus for a while. Yet numerous questions lingered. Was what I witnessed that day truly the bus driver who had passed away? If the driver was indeed deceased, then who had driven the bus and brought me all the way to this terminal?